What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today I'm not really looking forward to making this video because, yet again, I didn't really care for this episode too much of The Walking Dead. We are talking about episode 4 of season 11, the final season of The Walking Dead, and I think that my suspicions from episode 1 review were confirmed. This Reaper storyline feels like complete filler content, and again, like last week, we have this terrible lighting here, where it's the single source lighting that's coming from behind the camera. At least you can't see it in Daryl's eyes this time, so that's a positive. But again, we get another rushed action scene here, and, you know, I mean, at least we have a scene of Daryl getting away, which is an improvement on Maggie's, just appearing in the daytime elsewhere that we got last week. So at least we get some sort of explanation about that. So it's an improvement, I guess. In this scene, we get Daryl getting snuck up on, and he throws his crossbow at him. Like, why not just shoot him? Here's a wild idea. Also, he has a knife in his pocket still, and he throws it later. But he's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's just throw the crossbow, I guess. And sure. And then dog bites the guy, and Daryl's just rolling around on the ground, doing nothing. He's like, oh yeah, the dog's got him, I'm not worried. And then the guy throws dog off of what looks like a cliff or something, but dog's mysteriously okay still. And then next few scenes, so, honestly, guys, I just feel like the writers just don't care anymore. Any episode not written by Angela Kang so far this season has been complete garbage. And not even complete garbage. I'm just getting a little sick of having to ask these questions, it's, God. Alright, well, but again, we get a cut to daytime when it's convenient. And now we have a scene with the old guts trick, but this time it makes absolutely no sense at all. There are no zombies to be seen. I don't even think we see any zombies in this entire episode. And Daryl's here rubbing this shit in his skin. He's not just spreading it, he's rubbing it in. Like, didn't Gabriel lose an eye to doing something like this? Like, are we just forgetting that you can get infected? And what is he doing this for? It's not to help him get away. If it would make him more obvious to the Reapers, right? He would smell worse. I don't know. I don't get what the point of him doing the guts trick is. I really don't. I will say overall the music in this episode is actually pretty good, so there's a positive thing to say. And then, of course, we see what this episode is really about. And we get to see Leia again, Daryl's old girlfriend from last season. In one of the worst episodes in Walking Dead history, she was introduced and is a pointless character that I don't care about, and nothing in this episode made me change that opinion. And her timeline is just all convoluted, like she's part of this group since they were together back in Afghanistan, and yet she left them for some reason and then ended up going back to them, but then she acts like in a dialogue scene later that they found her and she hasn't separated from the family since they found her. So there's some weird stuff with her timeline going on that I don't get. And of course, we have a standoff scene with her and the dog, which for some reason in the episode where she was introduced, they made her name the dog instead of Daryl, even though it seemed like such a Daryl thing to do. And I felt like they kind of robbed his character of that moment, which was unfortunate. And of course, now she is revealed to have had a gun this entire time. So why didn't they come out shooting before? Why is this gun only coming out now? Because it's convenient for the storyline. That's why. So yeah, this character nobody cares about. I hope she dies soon. I really don't care about her at all. See, she has a gun all of a sudden. Why wasn't she using it earlier? I don't know. Okay, now we get the scene of Daryl with the bag on his head, and they do point of view shots through the bag that make it look like it's so clear to see through the bag. Yeah, So he can, like, clearly see through this bag. Like, these holes are humongous. And I know that this is, like, a bigger bag than the one that's actually on her head. Because I do film stuff and, like, know how they film this kind of stuff. But, like, what's the point of putting a bag on his head if you could just see right through it? What's the purpose? And we've seen this scene so many times throughout the series and the spin-offs. Like, how many times do we need to see this shot? And then right here, they just stop for no reason just because the camera shot needed to close up, and then they move him again. Like, what is happening? Why do I care about this show more than the people making it? I don't know. And then we get this whole, all these torture scenes with Daryl, and honestly, it's just like, it's just boring. Like, we've seen Daryl get kidnapped by an enemy group, the Saviors, and that time it was so much more memorable. I mean, who could ever forget the Easy Street scene? Like, that is such a memorable, iconic scene. I will never forget that as long as I live. This stuff is completely forgettable. Him being waterboarded, I don't even know why they're torturing him. They want to know who the leader of the group is, and that's Maggie, of course. What are they going to do with that information? They want to kill them all anyway, right? So, like, why does that help them to know who the leader is? I guess you capture the leader, you kill the leader, the rest might scatter, but I don't understand why they care. Or, like, they're not asking where their group is from. They're not asking where their group is located. And also, didn't Maggie and them know this group beforehand? They had an altercation. Wouldn't they know Maggie already? I don't know. I don't get this. I really don't. And on it, I don't know why Daryl's not telling the truth. Like, it doesn't really matter if they know who the leader is. I don't understand why that makes him, why he thinks that the rest of his group will be in greater danger if he tells the truth. There's nothing that he could have told them, aside from where their group is located. But we find out in this episode that they're like a couple dozen of them at most. So they're not even, like, that threatening. Okay, so even him telling them where the group is located, they have greater numbers back at home. Like, this group is just not intimidating at all. Yeah, and just the coincidence of meeting Leia again. I mean, I get that the world is small at this point, and also that characters that disappear are going to come back later. That's just, of course, going to happen. But why we do this so often? You know, we've had so many characters do this at this point. It's just becoming a trope. It's very predictable. Also, I find it weird that Leia is acting like she's in charge here, even though she's clearly not. Like, we know that she joined the group later, or at least, like, she left the group. There should be some bad blood there. Like, why is she acting in charge in this scene? And why do the other guys just listen to her for no reason? Why didn't they kill Daryl to begin with? Why was she able to stop them from doing that? I don't know. It's just very silly, man. I don't know what she's doing to him here. Is this chloroform? I don't understand that. I don't know. It's very kind of silly. Okay, so a fun little takeaway, something I noticed. The stuntman here is face down. That is a back convulsing there. And of course, that's done for safety reasons. That's not me criticizing the episode. Of course, they don't want to actually waterboard Daryl. I'm so glad Norman Reedus didn't get actually waterboarded for such a terrible, useless storyline. Yeah, and later in the scene, I get he just had water dumped on him, but all of a sudden he's really clean. When, like, the dried blood on his skin would mean, like, look how clean he is. The dried blood on his skin would take some scrubbing to get out. It's not like you just run water over it, it would disappear. I mean, how long did he have that dried blood on his skin, you know? It would take a lot more than just dumping water on him over and over again to get that to happen. So, you know, whatever. That's a nitpicky thing at this point. This scene here would have been a lot more impactful if this guy across the way was a character we actually know the name of. I certainly don't remember this character's name over here. I would think it would be a stronger storyline. This rejection by Daryl would mean a lot more if this was a character that they know. But again, Daryl keeping these secrets doesn't even really make sense. We already established that. So again, I don't really know what they're going for here. It feels like a lot of this episode is padded out by talking. And that's been true of the past few episodes, and especially the bonus episodes last season. It feels like they're dragging on these dialogue scenes to lower the budget, I guess. So yeah, again, I mean, once you get to this scene, you're like, oh, yeah, we've seen Daryl kidnapped quite a few times, haven't we? And it was much more memorable in previous seasons. Okay, and then we get this scene where some of the Reapers have died. I'm assuming these are the ones in the shopping center with Maggie and Negan in them in the previous episode. However, here we get some Reapers like crying and stuff, and I get that they're like a family and stuff, but seeing this, I guess it's supposed to make them more complicated, but really it just makes all of the mystery and all of the intimidation completely evaporate. To see Leia crying like that, and I don't know, man. Like, what did they think was going to happen when you just attack strangers? They're just going to let themselves be killed. They're not going to fight back. I mean, they must have experienced losses like this before. I mean, they fought Maggie's people and won, right? I mean, it's not like Maggie's people didn't fight back at some point, right? I'm sure that they had some casualties at that point, and that wasn't all that long ago. Yeah, if this guy meant so much to Leia that she's going to cry over him, why did she leave them to live in the woods? Again, what's the point? And we get to see their leader. And honestly, I don't know, he's got a good look, but the accent feels kind of fake. I don't know if it is or not, but it just comes off very forced. And he doesn't really stand out in all the villains we've had in Walking Dead. So, again, I don't know. Yeah, here she is crying. And then she cries to Daryl some more. Like, this is her family, and yet she's crying to Daryl about somebody that was trying to kill Daryl and the people he's traveling with earlier. Like, why would Daryl give a shit? Again, I don't know what they're going for with this scene. I guess at this point Daryl's kind of trying to manipulate her into helping him out. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really get that impression. But that's the only explanation I could really have for the way he's acting. Yeah, and we're halfway through the episode, and it's just nothing has happened so far, really. I would have preferred to see a lot more mystery here. And now this scene is pretty much the closest thing we get to an interesting scene in this episode. And that is Daryl and this cabin being set on fire to test Daryl's fortitude, I suppose. And they have Leia in there for some reason. I don't know why they would just put her on the chopping block there. I don't know what she did to deserve distrust at this point. And here we get a glimpse of the Reapers. And this is all of them. This is it. And that means that last episode, when the Reapers, or, in the first episode of the season, when the Reapers were walking towards the camera, and we discussed last week how that didn't really make a lot of sense. But they were walking towards the camera. And they were just waiting there for people to pass by so that they could attack them. They had no reason to expect that these people were coming at that particular moment. And yet they were all there waiting. That made the group look a lot bigger than it actually is. And now it just looks like they're just waiting around all day for people to walk by so they can kill them. Like, this is not an intimidating crew. Like, it takes one machine gun magazine. And that's the Reapers done. Like, I don't know why, like, this is supposed to be intimidating. I don't know. And we've had Daryl somewhat join. Again, we had him somewhat join the Saviors after being tortured and such and such. We're just rehashing storylines, and it gets less interesting every time. So, honestly, Daryl's season 7 and 8 storyline, I was a little lukewarm on at the time. because I wanted to see Daryl doing more stuff, and he kind of felt like he was locked in for a lot of it. But this season makes that stuff look like a masterpiece. So, as cool as the sets are, and like it doesn't look bad, and the burning room, that was all well and good, but just like overall, it's a storyline isn't doing it for me. And now we get a scene between Daryl and this guy Pope, and Pope explains absolutely everything you need to know about the Reapers. All the mystery that was gone, and like the intimidating nature of how they look and appear, it's all gone. We know everything we need to know. This show has way too much of a habit of front loading the characters and explaining everything about them right away, and honestly, they would really be much better off if they'd rolled this information out over several weeks and we got a little glimpse here and there. But instead, we just get it all in one monologue. And I'm getting a little sick of the monologues. We've been relying on them way, way too much. Ever since season 10 bonus episodes, it feels like they just throw these monologues in to save time. Like in episode 2, we had Maggie telling the story about the house that she came across with the zombies with their limbs cut off and all that. And, not that the scene isn't interesting. It's one of the better scenes in the episode, actually. And the backstory makes sense. It's not a terrible backstory. But again, like, these monologues are getting to be too much. It's almost predictable at this point. I should have known, we're going to know everything about the Reapers by the end of this episode, based on how things have been going lately. Yeah, and this is a long scene, too. This is like several minutes. And then we get Daryl here coming in to meet the group by the campfire, and now he's part of the family, which seems very sudden. And like they don't seem accustomed to taking people in, so it's kind of weird that, he got out of a burning building. Now we trust him fully and completely. I get the baptism and fire symbolism and all, the sign from God and all that, but this just straight up doesn't make any sense. And of course, as is predictable, we want to really telegraph that these are the bad guys. So we have Pope push one of the guys he thinks is lying into the fire, even though like he just got attacked from behind. I don't know why the wounds being on his back proves anything, but it was so predictable that this dude's ending up in the fire. Like, everybody watching knew that, and acting like it's supposed to be this big shocking thing. We had Negan burning people as punishment before. Again, just rehashing storylines. I don't know. This just felt very forced. And they said this guy walked 10 miles. So the shopping center place was 10 miles away? What? Like, how far away were they attacked in the woods? Like, it really didn't seem like Maggie was walked 10 miles. One thing I forgot about this scene was we had Daryl tell Leia about who the leader was of the group, which again, like, why was that a secret in the first place? But the guy across the way already told them who the leader was. We had a scene previously where they were like, oh yeah, now we know who the leader is. It's a woman. Like, why is Leia acting like she didn't know that? I don't understand. And she also mentions, like, she can't pay bills, so they needed to become mercenaries. But, like, I know soldiers don't get paid the best money in the world, but it's certainly not, like, minimum wage or anything like that. So the idea they couldn't pay bills, like, what were they buying? Did they have a gambling addiction or what? I don't know. Also in this scene, we have Leia say, I care about you and don't want to see anything bad happen to you. We already got that, like, we know. That's the subtext of everything she's done in this episode. Why do we forget show don't tell? Like, do we just have to come out and say everything in explicit terms? So, in this scene, something else I forgot about, Leia says something along the lines of, the day you found me, such and such, yada yada. And, like, in a previous scene, she said that she knew the dead guy before the apocalypse. So, like, she knew these people before the apocalypse, got lost again, and then they found her. Yeah, I'm going insane here, guys. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Ugh. So, guys, as you can see by how heated I'm getting, I didn't care for this episode, and my confidence, which was low going into the season, was brought up by the premiere in the second episode of the season, only to go crashing back down, and now I really don't have a lot of hope that the final season, aside from maybe the Commonwealth arc, is going to be any good. And, you know, any mystery we had with this group is completely evaporated by explaining everything, and now we know for a fact this storyline is going to amount to nothing. If we already know everything about this group, we know that they're going to be out of the picture in a couple weeks. So what was the point of this whole arc? What do we get from this? I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I would love to discuss this with you guys. If you liked the episode, please let me know what you liked about it. If you agree with me that your confidence is eroding, also let me know that. I would like to have some confirmation. That would be nice. But overall, guys, I feel like I care about the show more than the writers do at this point. It might sound harsh, but there's just too many things for me to ignore. And not enough action, not enough cool character moments to let this kind of stuff slide. So that's how I'm feeling, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please thumbs it up. This one went... Oh, wow, I'm at a half an hour on the recording, guys. I had a lot to say about this episode. Anyways, guys, if you like comic books, be sure to check out shookearth.com for my medieval comic, Hototo. We're going to be launching stuff about that very soon. And otherwise, guys, please subscribe for more. We'll have some live streams this week and more content coming up on the channel, so please stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Peace out.